Introduce Pastor Prentice Robbins, Racine Interfaith Coalition's organizer, to open us in prayer.
May we bow our heads. Oh, Heavenly Father, we give thanks to you for all. And we ask you, Heavenly Father, to look upon us with your grace and mercy. We ask you to look upon the family, Lord Jesus, in these trying times. Oh, Heavenly Father, we ask you, Lord Jesus, that you allow justice to prevail over everything. We ask you, Heavenly Father, that you allow good to become over evil. And oh, Heavenly Father, as we come into solidarity, Lord Jesus, we're asking that each and every one of us begin to remember our families, the ones that we have lost, the ones that we could use this capacity. And oh, Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless all the churches that are here today and all the people that have came out to support us in this endeavor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. As we begin in a few minutes, we will talk about why we are here. But we are honored this evening to have our mayor, Corey Mason, who is always very supportive of us and the beloved community, and we thank him. I know he has a few other meetings to go to yet this evening, so we're going to ask him to say a few words right now.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening in solidarity with Pastor Rendon. So, I thought about how to start this event, and often I'm asked to give a welcome at the start of these events. And I thought about what that word means in this context, giving a welcome to someone who's not been allowed to stay in our community. When I think about all the events that we've seen within the community, of people more and more being afraid to participate in their community for fear of the government seizing them or a member of their family and taking them into custody, really is just much different than the values that we've had in this community for a long time. Racine has always been a community of immigrants, always. It was built by immigrants. It prospered because of immigrants. It benefited from the diversity of ideas and cultures that have come to this community that serve us so well still to this day. And I don't have a good set of words or explanations to assuage the pain in our hearts that we must all be feeling. We're wondering why it is that this is the approach that we're taking to this generation of immigrants that are every bit as valuable and important and have been here every bit as long, if not longer, to many other communities in our society and right here in the Racine community. Think about what this means for families. We often talk about family values and what that all means. I can't describe a culture that says it values families if it's willing to rip a member away from their families and take them into custody solely because of their national origin. I think about my own children who are 10, 8, and 7 years old and try to put myself in the shoes of someone who might be in custody with ICE and wondering what they must be feeling, trying to imagine how I would feel if I was in that situation. I simply can't imagine it. Think about what it means when we talk about community and all coming together to support each other, which is beautifully demonstrated by what we hear tonight. But I also think about the demand that we all must have for justice, that we want people in this community to succeed, regardless of their race, regardless of their culture, regardless of their national origin. Because when we're seeing, and albeit when America is at its best, it's when everyone is given the opportunity to succeed up to their God-given talents. So we'll leave, as I was thinking about the candle that we were marching behind as we walked around the block, from a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, for whom my oldest daughter's name, and she said, "I would rather light a candle than curse the darkness." And I think that's what we can hope to do here tonight, is light a candle in the hope that we don't have to do more of this, in the hope that one day justice will prevail, in the hope that one day we'll live up to the highest values of the American ideal. Everyone succeed, regardless of their background. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We cannot say enough times how appreciative we are of Corey Mason and the support he gives us in our community. A little bit about why we are here. We are here to pray in support of Betty Rendon and her husband, as well as her daughter Paula and granddaughter, who are heartbroken because they did not get to say goodbye to Paula, her parents, and her daughter, her grandparents. We now know that Betty and Carlos have been flown to Colombia. They have been quickly deported over this holiday weekend, just this morning as far as we know. This is a tragedy, and we also know that the deportation of this family is similar to deportations that have taken place over the past several months across the country. We know the fear of our own people in our community because of the more than 30 reported taken by ICE in our own area recently. Our breadwinners, leaving citizen children and families behind. We know the numbers according to USA Today. Figures released by ICE in March showing that the agency arrested 34,546 people just between October and December of 2018. More than 1/3 of those immigrants, like Betty's family, had no criminal record and were contributing members of their communities. We are here to pray to God for help, not only for Betty and her family, but also for the thousands of other families that have been needlessly separated by a broken immigration and asylum system. Many have called us, have questioned people here at the church. What can we do? Well, we will pray, but without action, prayer will not work. You will hear about action tonight, as well as the story of Betty and her family. And as we are holding our vigil here in Racine, it will take place at the same time as the prayer vigil being held at the Lutheran School of Theology in Chicago and at the Bethlehem Lutheran Church in New Orleans, a congregation that is also part of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, of ELCA. Now, as we move forward, I'd like to acknowledge any of our elected leaders and community leaders who are present. If you would please stand. Any of you that are here, county board members, elected officials, we are so appreciative of your leadership and your support. We know that we have the right people in the room with us. Now, I said that there would be some action taken, and I said we will pray. But to speak about some of the actions, I'd like to invite Christine Newman-Ortiz from COSAS to come forward and talk about some of the actions you can take. It's time. It's time to work together with faith and community. There's power in numbers. So, Christine.
Thank you, Linda. I'm also just going to very briefly sum up my comments in Spanish too. So lo voy a decir en inglés y muy brevemente en español. Pero, first in English, I do think that it's very significant what happened to Pastor Betty and her husband and her family. So we should really take that in. It is of significance that a religious leader was put in deportation proceedings, and that if there hadn't been public community intervention, they were trying to deport a DACA recipient. That is significant. That does represent an escalation in the aggression that we're hearing about and that we see and feel throughout this country, this community, and throughout this country on the escalated attacks on immigrants and refugees in our community, on the TV. This is a centerpiece of this administration, and this is significant. Quiero decir que esto es tan significante de lo que ha pasado, que han escogido deportar un líder religioso y que si no hubiera la intervención de la comunidad, estaban tratando de deportar un recipiente de DACA, su hija. And it's clear in the most obvious of ways that in deporting this religious leader and her family, the intentions. Not only was it a working class family, but this was someone that was truly serving the community in the most significant of ways, dedicated their life to that. And so it's clear that the money that is being used by our government, our taxes, are being used in a policy of xenophobia and racism. Because that's the only reason that you would carry out a military-style operation to go after this family, as if they were some kind of major threat. There's no other justification than racism and xenophobia. No hay ninguna justificación por lo que ha hecho el gobierno en esta operación militar que manejaron, pero el racismo y una política de xenofobia, porque estos son personas que han dedicado su vida a servir a la comunidad. The way they conducted to this morning to Colombia was very, very clear that they were trying to get them away from supporters, family, friends, and that they deported her this morning. What is their intention? Their intention is to try to demoralize and disorganize what was quickly escalating. So what matters is our response to what has happened. And we have to make sure that our response is what we see here tonight, and what we've seen in the very short amount of time that this happened, which is it has brought us together. And it did grab national attention. We have to keep it focused there because we're going to see more of this. And this is the start, and so we have to make sure that we continue to lift up what's happened, to call for Pastor Betty to be reunited with her family, with her congregation, like so many other families, and that we continue to make public outcry against the actions of this Trump administration. Es muy... que las acciones de ellos, la forma en que le movieron de un centro de detención a otra, su intención era demoralizar y desorganizarnos. Al contrario, nosotros todos aquí hemos demostrado que al contrario nos ha unido y que esa unidad tiene que crecer para que esto nos siga creciendo. So how can we do that? There is a call to action with some ideas around that. There's obviously donations to help the family, but other things that can do, many things that can be done. But I'm just going to highlight 3 of them. So hay muchas cosas en que uno puede ayudar, y hay una hoja, hay claro donaciones, hay muchas cosas que se pueden hacer. Pero hay 3 cosas, por lo menos, que quiero sacar a luz. It is very important that here in Wisconsin, we call both Senator Johnson and Senator Baldwin to demand that there be no funding of Department of Homeland Security, because they have been grabbing more and more money while that legislatively has been blocked through budget, through appropriations. This is how they're scaling up, even grabbing from others. So that message to both, this is not political, because this is bipartisan, it's a message to Congress. No more money, no more tearing up families. That's the message. And so that information is out there. So tenemos que hablar con los 2 senadores de decirles no más dinero a esta agencia, no más separación de familias. The other piece is that we are moving forward with a June 20th National Day of Action in Chicago This is going to be in front of the ICE regional office where everyone is processed here in Wisconsin, in the Midwest area, and where the acting director had the power to stop this deportation. And so we invite people to kind of stay tuned, but hold that date as a national day of action. And obviously coordinating and inviting other people to lift up this case and of the so many other cases that right now families are facing the threat of deportation and certainly what's happening in terms of asylum seekers and refugees right now. And then the last two pieces are that it's so important to continue to do the work that we've been doing here at the city, at the school board district, to support passing driver's license here at the state level, or passing resolutions at the school district level, safe haven resolutions that limit collaboration with ICE or create important protections such as the driver's license. So es tan importante apoyar todos los esfuerzos para recuperar licencias y no colaboración con inmigración. And lastly, because we had elected officials who stood up here, it's so important, as we all know, that people of conscience turn out to vote. And in the Latino community in particular, we know that people don't often have the basic information about, all of us actually need to look at it, what's on that ballot, what does it look like, and who's standing with us. And I want to thank those folks who are here with us tonight, and we need many more folks like that. And we need people who are standing up for what's morally right, because this is going to be a turning point. It already is a turning point, and we have to resist right now, but we also have to build for the future, because we need legalization. We need paths to legalization that are going to honor people and that are going to reunite families. Not just protect them, but reunite families, because we're going to fight so that Pastor Betty is back at this church with her husband and her family, and so many other families that have lived this tragedy are finally can get the justice that they seek. So vamos a seguir luchando hasta que la pastora Betty regrese aquí, reunidas con una reforma migratoria justa en el 2021, pero para eso necesitamos elecciones que van a traer representantes que están al lado de la justicia y con las familias. Sí se puede.
We have worked quickly and together, and we have brought many people. One more thing on an action you can take locally. You can become engaged, voter engagement. We're seeing Interfaith Coalition as a group working with us. It's another task force of ours called Turn Up the Vote. We are here tonight to hand out Know Your Rights cards. And we are here also to let you know that we continually are working in neighborhoods, building relationships, going to let people know what district they live in, where their polling place is, who their representatives are. I spoke to someone and asked them, what district do you live in? Did not know. And I won't point that person out there in this room right now. It is very, very important that you become involved locally as well as nationally. Everything Christine says is so important to move forward with. And we will help you. We will have information later and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But as I said, as we move forward, we have brought people together. In fact, we have brought people all the way from Florida today to show support for Betty and the situation that's here. We are so honored to bring, again, Pastor John Freddie. He has been such a part of our community for so long, actually a backbone for us in the Seen Interfaith Coalition, for this church, for the people in the community. So, Pastor John Freddie, would you come forward and say a few words and let's welcome.
Tengo que informar y decirles que aquí estoy temblando de miedo. I have to be honest that I'm shaking, I'm afraid. And I'm sharing that because I know that you may be afraid for the journey ahead. But one note that I have here in front of me is that the Lord says, no tengas miedo. Don't be afraid, because I am with you, and I am ahead of you, and I am behind you, and I am next to you, and I will be in and with you. Don't be afraid. I want to do 3 simple things today, and I'll try to say a couple pieces in Spanish too. The first thing is, I believe that God sent me here, brought me here to remind you, me and us, who we are. Because we are forgetting very often who we are. God created us a community, a dreamer, a community gifted, a diverse community. We have what it takes to turn around this situation. We have all the gifts that we need to stand up and change not only this city, not only Milwaukee, not only this state, but this country. If those 15,000 of Latinos who live in my city come together, they have, just around them, with you too, with over 100,000 people just from my city, have what it takes. You guys have what it takes to become a holy place where everyone is welcome and loved. Estoy aquí para recordarte que tú tienes lo que necesitas para levantarte como una comunidad, para transformar este lugar en una comunidad donde todos tengan oportunidades y donde todos sean bienvenidos y donde todos puedan vivir en paz y en armonía. This is the role, the second part, that we have walked together. We have been crying, we have been suffering, we have been coming from a slavery. We have been coming from oppression. We have been segregated. Yes, we have sinned against each other. But that's not who we are. We have been in the road of isolation. We have turned our faces to the other side and we have seen the other one falling. But that's not who we are. And that is not where we are going. We are moving. We are better than that. Somebody said earlier, they have tried to divide us. But guess what? Through them, God is lifting up and raising up a new community. God is creating a beloved community. A community where everyone is welcome. A community where every gift will be used. A community that we don't see colors anymore, red or blue, black or white or brown. A community where it doesn't matter if you're old or young. It doesn't matter if you're poor or rich. It is a beloved community. This is not anymore about Roman Catholics, Catholic, Lutheran, Orthodox, Episcopalian, Methodist. This is not about bishop, priest. This is about us, beloved children of God. And if we need to take this away and throw it away, we need to start doing that. Because we need to walk the road together. There is no more privilege here. We need to stand together in solidarity. This is not again about Latinos, black or white. This is about us, a beloved community. God is lifting up. So let me wrap up before I say this in Spanish. Think about the next steps. But also think about how willing, how able, how much are you invested into this? Nosotros hemos venido de un camino donde nos han oprimido, de un camino donde nos han segregado. Hemos caminado juntos por lugares donde nos hemos dado la vuelta y hemos abandonado al otro. Es cierto que hemos sido una comunidad bien dividida, pero eso no es lo que somos nosotros. Ese fue el pasado y hoy es un nuevo comienzo. A partir de hoy ya no existen más negros, blancos, latinos, indios, mulatos, pobres, ricos, mujeres, hombres, obispos, sacerdotes, curas. No existe más católicos, luteranos, episcopalianos, somos hijos de Dios, somos seres humanos. A partir de hoy somos esa nueva comunidad. Ellos trataron de dividirnos y lo van a seguir haciendo, pero no van a poder porque a partir de hoy somos nuevos. Somos uno solo. Somos una raza, una nueva raza. So I ask you, how much, how invested, how willing, ¿cómo estás de comprometido? There are 3 things that I want you to do. Organize people. You guys know how to do that. Organize money. See who is with you. Go around and ask all the businesses in Racine and see how much are they willing to invest in campaigns, in organizing. Go and ask all the lawyers who is with you. And if they don't want to be with you, tell everybody. And they will close their business. And don't be afraid. And they better listen to you and give you what you need. And remember, don't be afraid. God is ahead of you. This is not about Betty. This is not about her family. This is about us. It could have been me and my family who would have been today being deported to prison. Tomorrow can be one of you. Tomorrow can be my son. Tomorrow can be my closest friends. Tomorrow can be your grandchildren. Let us act now. Tomorrow can be today. Let me just share with you that Bishop Eaton released a document telling us that Carlos, a 16-year-old, died on May 20 in custody of ICE. And the list continues. Let me also tell you that some of the bishops of the LCA wrote this, telling you that you are not alone. Let us call upon the administration to assume the United States proper share the international responsibility to reinstall refugees. Let us oppose practices. Let us not only pray for Carlos, Paul, and Paola, let us also stand with so many others, with the poor. And there is a big statement that we'll be sharing the page in a minute. They are saying it. They are living it. They are willing to stand with you. I want to finish with the definition of love according to Bishop Hall. Love is not something you do. Love is someone you are. Love is where you came from, and love is where you are going.
We praise God for choosing to bring Pastor John Freddy to us here tonight, to bring us a message that we will not soon forget. And we do miss you, by the way. Thank you for being here, and thank you for that wonderful message. How willing are you? As we move along, we have built quite a relationship with the ELCA community through this. Amos has been one of our 28 churches with Racine Interfaith Coalition from the very early start. And it has brought us closer. Just being part of Racine Interfaith Coalition. But when there is something that needs to be done quickly, I think we can look to the Lutherans. I would like to introduce someone that I have been very pleased to meet throughout this journey we have had. I'd like to introduce Bishop Paul Gerritsen. He is the Bishop of Greater Milwaukee Synod of the ELCA. Please.
Thank you, and thank all of you for taking time to be with us begin with a reading from Scripture, from the book of Revelation, the 7th chapter. John writes, "After this I looked, and there was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, from all tribes and peoples and languages, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, robed in white with palm branches in their hands, and they cried out in a loud voice, saying, 'Salvation belongs to our God, who is seated on the throne, and to the Lamb.' All the angels stood around the throne and around the elders and the four living creatures, and they fell on their faces before the throne and worshipped God, singing, 'Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be to God forever and ever. Amen.' Then one of the elders addressed me, saying, 'Who are these robed in white? Where did they come from?' And I said to him, 'Sir, you are the one that knows.' And he said to me, 'These are they who have come out of the great ordeal. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. For this reason they are before the throne of God. And they worship him day and night within his temple. And the one who is seated on the throne will shelter them. They will hunger no more. And they will thirst no more. The sun will not strike them, nor any scorching heat. For the Lamb at the center of the throne will be their shepherd, and he will guide them to the springs of the water of life, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes." The word of the Lord. This vision records God's dream for life. A life in which people who have come to the great ordeal, people from all nations and all languages, will one day come before the throne singing and praying and living in freedom from fear and crime and pain and sadness. This vision, recorded some 2,000 years ago in Holy Scripture, has still not been realized today. In the events of these past weeks, as we have worked and prayed and organized and spoken out, trying to find a way for Betty and Rendon and Carlos and Capier and their family to be spared from the violent, painful, cruel treatment at the hands of our government. They're a painful reminder that we do not yet live in the reality that our God so deeply wants for this world. The distance between the world as it is and the world as God wants it to be, as we so desperately want it to be, it seems so damn wide. Seems to be growing wider every day. The forces of fear and hatred are rearing their ugly heads like the great beast of Babylon. And it may well feed like he did feed. But we know how the story ends. We know that the beast's days are numbered. And we know that the forces of darkness have not and cannot and will not overcome the light that shines among us. God is in charge. Love wins. Justice will prevail. But it won't be easy. We're not just going to wake up one day and find our world magically transformed into God's paradise, at least not in this world. We're going to have to work and fight and organize and vote. Guided by God's vision and fueled with a passion born in the great ordeal. As we gather here this evening, Betty and Carlos have arrived in Colombia, having experienced the pain and humiliation and cruel separation from their family and facing an uncertain future. We are united in our prayers and our concern for them, for the well-being of their daughter, Paula, and their granddaughter, Layla. We are united in prayer with people meeting at this same hour in Chicago and New Orleans and perhaps in other places across this country. We are united in prayer. And I pray we will be united in action as well. We need to organize and speak up. We need to make sure that not only do we vote, but the people we know and are related to get out and vote as well. We need to be relentless in our communication with our elected leaders with this simple 4-point message. Protect migrants and refugees and those fleeing violence. Stop separating families. Increase the numbers of refugees that we are willing to accept in this country. And remove practices that create unreasonable and insurmountable barriers for those seeking asylum. I'm not ready to give up this fight because we have only started. The forces of hatred and violence, they know that they are numbered because God is on our side, and we will not rest until we become the land that we claim to be. A land of liberty and justice and love for all.
Amen.
Resumen de mis comentarios en español, lo siento, mi español no es perfecto, pero así voy. Tenemos una visión en el libro de Apocalipsis, donde podemos ver el sueño de Dios, el sueño que Dios tiene para la vida, para el mundo, en la cual la gente que ha pasado por la gran tribulación, gente de todas las naciones, idiomas y pueblos, todos van a estar al frente del trono de Dios, cantando, orando, viviendo libres del temor y dolor. Esta visión escrita hace 2000 años, todavía no hemos realizado en este mundo. Los eventos de las últimas semanas, cuando hemos trabajado y organizado para la libertad de la pastora estudiantil Rendon y su esposo Carlos Cartier, nos hace recordar que no venimos en el mundo que Dios quiere para nosotros. La distancia entre el mundo como es y el mundo como debe ser es grande. Y cada día parece que la distancia es más grande. Las fuerzas del odio y del temor nos amenazan como la bestia de Babilonia. Y puede parecer que hemos perdido. Pero sabemos cómo termina la historia. Sabemos que los días de la bestia tienen un fin y sabemos que las fuerzas de la oscuridad no van y no pueden vencer la luz que brilla entre nosotros. Dios es el rey. El amor siempre gana y la justicia prevalecerá. Pero no va a ser fácil, ¿no? No vamos a despertar un día y encontrar un mundo transformado a un paraíso, ¿no? Por lo menos no en este mundo. Tenemos que trabajar, tenemos que luchar, tenemos que organizar, tenemos que votar, guiados por la visión de Dios y la pasión nacido en la gran revelación. Esta noche, verificados ya están en Colombia. Después de experimentar el dolor y la humillación y separación cruel de su familia y un futuro incierto. Estamos unidos en preocupación y en oración por el bienestar de ellos y por su hija y las nietas. Estamos unidos en oración por gente unida en nuestro en New Orleans, en Chicago y en otras partes de este país. Estamos unidos en la oración, pero también tenemos que estar unidos en la acción. ¿Sí? Tenemos que organizar. ¿Sí? Tenemos que luchar. ¿Sí? Tenemos que votar. ¿Sí? Tenemos que comunicar con nuestros líderes políticos. Con los 4 puntos hasta aquí. Tienen que proteger a los migrantes, refugiados y los que están tratando de escapar de la violencia. Tienen que parar la separación de familias. Tienen que aumentar el número de refugiados que podemos aceptar en ese país. Y tienen que quitar las barreras que crean obstáculos a los que buscan asilo. Tenemos que seguir en la lucha, porque solo hemos empezado. Las fuerzas del odio y la violencia saben que su tiempo tiene un fin seguro, porque Dios está con nosotros. Y no vamos a descansar hasta que estemos una nación llena de justicia, igualdad y amor para todos. Amén.
We're willing now, say amen. come into God's presence. Blessed are you, Lord Jesus Christ. Help us to welcome you in newcomers, migrants, and refugees. Blessed are you, God of all nations. Help us to be good stewards and peacemakers who live as your children. Blessed are you, God. You work in the hearts of all to bring about harmony and goodwill. Strengthen us to welcome those from other lands, cultures, religions, that we may live in human solidarity and in hope. God of all people, grant us vision to see your presence in our midst, especially in our immigrant sisters and brothers. Give us courage to open the door to our neighbors and grace to build a society of justice. Amen. That's our call to prayer. And our call to prayer for all the families separated, detained, and harmed by broken immigration and asylum laws. We are inviting you to think of those families. Someone that you know, and we know many in our community, who have had their families separated because of deportation. We know their struggles. We're working with them daily. We'd like to invite you to come forward to light a candle as we remember them and we pray for their safety and their well-being. So people come forward to light candles if you so wish.
things that I'm proud of in the report. I was 3 or 4 marching with the Racine Interfaith Coalition with my family and my kids. It's something I've always been proud of. Sometimes my kids have looked at me and they've said, "Where's our pastor?" Because the churches we attended in the past, our pastors have not marched with us. Today I'm proud to see all of you here. And I hope that in the future you will choose to march with the Racine Interfaith Coalition. We've been doing this work for a couple of years now. This is not new. Y'all know this song, so I'm just going to sing a couple verses out of you. Sing it with me. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but
and all of the work that you're doing for many, not only through Rick, but through your work in the detention center in Kenosha. They have been able to help a number of people, some who are here this evening, to obtain lawyers and bonds, and are now living in our community in homes with jobs. So we are very grateful for the Vigil family. And now, as we close, and we will have a prayer to end this evening, after the prayer, I will say a few words about next steps. And Pastor John Freddy, will you come up and close us in prayer?
I'd like to invite all of you to pray with your bodies. If you are able, please rise. At this time, let us look at each other, because this is who we are. And I invite all of you to feel and stretch out your arm, trying to grasp the person who is in front of you. And if you want to either close your eyes and just feel the emotion in prayer, and don't touch that person, just extend out your arm as if you are trying to grab onto somebody. Literally, sure, literally. When you feel abandoned right now, let us pray. Don't grab that person because that person doesn't want to grab you right now. And you are feeling abandoned right now, and let us cry out to God and tell God, this is how we feel right now, Lord. We feel broken. We feel lonely. We feel that no one is around us, that we cannot grab onto anybody. Can you, Lord, stretch out your arm and grab us? Can you, Lord, make us feel that we are not alone? Can you, Lord, open our eyes so that we can see tonight that we are not alone? Even when we see just some bags, even when we see some people walking away from us and just see their bags. Can you, Lord, hug us? Can you, Lord, embrace us? Can you, Lord, hold us right now as a community? Can you, Lord, make us one right now? Can you, Lord, show us that right now in the power of this community? Can you please show your brother, your sister, in whatever way you want to do it? Remember, this is a prayer. That person next to you, in front of you, behind you, is not alone. Can you bless the person? Can you hug the person? Can you kiss the person? Can you kneel with that person? Whatever you want to do, will you please do that as we close this prayer?
As we share all of this love, as we share all of this love, we want you to remember that I'm willing, our community is willing, we're seeing, we are willing to make a difference. We are willing to care, and not only care, but to act with compassion. Again, there is faith in community. There's power in numbers together. So as we leave, I want to remind you that we have 2 boxes in the foyer. One for Betty and her family, and another from the many that we know have been taken in our community and the families we are working with, that aren't afraid to come forward to allow us to help them. So there is a box for that also. I want to remind you to contact Senator Baldwin and Senator Johnson and all of the legislators and to ask them to put pressure on the Department of Homeland Security and our government and to not fund them. They are receiving money, as many would say, hand over fist. As we go into the sunset room, we'd like you to stay for fellowship. We'd like you to become involved with the voter engagement program that we're seeing Interfaith Coalition is working on constantly. And we would like you to show love to each other. And thank all of you for coming out. We know you care, and we